Welcome back, class. This is Miss Moore. I'm back again. You know, we've been over a lot of things this week. We went through the order of operation. We did that lesson. Lesson 2, we did the proportions. Lesson 3, we did integers operation. And today, we're going to go over solving equations. Now, what we need to do, as always, I ask you to take out your paper and your pencil and put it to the side. I'm going to do a short video of one-step equation. I want you to pay strictly attention to it. It may be a little different than what you've done previous. It might take a little more time to get you know the signs and how to do the opposite, do an invert of the operation is what we're going to do with the one-step equation. So we already know about our positive and our negative numbers because we went over that before. Now, just sit tight, take your pencil and your paper, watch this small video, then we're going to come back in and we're going to go over the one-step operation with you. Okay.
In this video, we're going to discuss how to solve one-step equations. And as you can see, there are 6 problems on your screen that we're going to go through in order to get this down. Now, up top, I have a hint we need to remember as we go through these problems. So we're going to do the opposite or inverse operation of whatever is being done to the variable in order to get the variable by itself. Now, that may not make any sense at first, but as we go through these problems, you'll start to see what I mean by that. Again, main goal is getting the variable by itself. And just to reiterate, inverse means opposite. It means to do the opposite. So addition, the inverse would be subtraction. Multiplication, the inverse would be division. So let's jump right into number 1 here and see how we solve one-step equations. So for number 1, we have x minus 6. So we need to take a look at what we're doing to the variable x, our missing piece, and we're subtracting 6. So we need to do the opposite. So that would be adding 6. So we need to add 6 to that side. And the reason we do that, because we have x minus 6 plus 6, the minus 6 plus the 6 gives us 0, essentially canceling those 6's out. So we're just left with the x. That gives us the x by itself. Now, in order to keep that equation balanced, we have to do the same thing to both sides. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we added 6 to the left, so we need to add 6 to the right. So 13 plus 6 gives us 19. So x equals 19. And we always double check to see if this makes sense and our answer for the variable is correct. So let's plug in 19 for our x here. 19 minus 6 equals 13. And that is true. It is correct. I'm even going to come to the side here, plug it in. 19 minus 6 equals 13. That is true. So we're good to go. We have the correct answer for what x equals. Let's take a look at number 2. We have k divided by 8 equals 2. So what are we doing to the variable k? Well, we're dividing by 8. So we need to do the opposite to that side to get rid of the dividing 8. So we need to multiply by 8. K divided by 8 times 8, well, those 8's would equal 0 or cancel out. So k is by itself. But whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other to keep everything balanced. So we get to the point where k is by itself. K equals, well, 2 times 8 is 16. K equals 16. Let's see if that's true. Let's plug in 16 for k. 16 divided by 8 equals 2. So k indeed does equal 16. Let's take a look at number 3. Now here we have the answer on the left-hand side and our variable on the right. That's okay, that happens in algebra sometimes. So we're adding 3 to g. So we need to do the opposite to that side to get g by itself. So we need to subtract 3 and we need to do it to both sides. So we get g equals 13. And I always like to rewrite with the variable first, g equals 13. And let's double check. Does 3 plus 13 equal 16? Yes, so we have the correct answer for the variable. Number 4, we have 15 equals 5m. Now a number right next to a variable or a letter means multiplication. So we're multiplying by 5 here. So the opposite of multiplying by 5 would be dividing by 5. That would give us our m by itself. And that I put it in fractional form, and fractions are division here. That means divide by 5. So do it to both sides. So we have the m by itself, and then 15 divided by 5 gives us 3. So m equals 3. Let's double check. 5 times 3 does equal 15, so we have the correct answer there. Number 5, we have 2r equals 22. So we're multiplying by 2. Again, number next to a letter means multiplication. So we need to divide both sides by 2. That gives us r by itself, and 22 divided by 2 equals 11. So r equals 11. Let's double check. 2 times 11 does equal 22, so we're good to go there. Number 6, 11 equals w divided by 4. So we're dividing by 4. The opposite would be multiplying by 4. So let's multiply by 4 to get w by itself. And then whatever we do to one side, we need to do to the other in order to keep everything balanced. So we end up with an answer of 44 for the value of w. So w equals 44. And let's double check. 44 divided by 4 does equal 11. So we're good to go with number 6. So there you have it. There's how you solve one-step equations. Hopefully you found that helpful. Until next time, peace.
Okay, class, welcome back. You saw the video and you had your paper and your pen, and I'm sure you took a few notes on your one-step equation that we can discuss them a little later if you don't understand. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go, before we do our worksheet, I'm going to go back over some of the things that was told in the video. What I need you to do at this time is to pause your video and listen to us. On the one-step equation, you always do the opposite, the invert operation of whatever is being done to that variable in order to get the variable by itself. And that means that if you got that y plus 6 equals 20 on your worksheet, you're trying to get that variable by itself in order to do the order of that operation, that one-step equation. Now, always, we want to keep it balanced, as he said. When you do one side, whatever you do to one side, you want to do it to the other side. And then he also showed you how we check that to make sure that that problem is correct. So what we're going to do at this time, I want you to pay attention. I hope everybody got the computer on pause. I want you to look at your worksheet at this time. I want you to look at number 1, which I'm going to show you that, our variable in number 1 is the y. Is y plus 6 equals 20. So what our first step is in that problem? Our first step is to do the opposite. And whatever you do on one side, you do it to the other. But we want to take this variable right now, and we want to put it by itself. In order to do that, we're going to say y plus 6 equals to 20. So we got a positive 6, and we need a negative 6. So you got this 6. Remember, we're trying to move this y. So whatever you do to one side on that right side, you got to do it to the left side. So you have a positive 6. Now you got a positive 6 and a negative 6. Now you're going to take that 6 and you're going to put a positive 6 on the other side of the 20. We're trying to get that variable by itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the positive 6 and the negative 6. We're going to stretch that out. Now we got y equals 6 from 14 is what? It's 14. 6 from 20 is 14. I'm sorry, my mistake. 6 from 20. So we have now, we had a negative 6 plus a negative 6. So we got rid of the 6, the positive 6, and the negative 6. We crossed that out, and now we have y equal. And what does the y equal? Y equals 6. And then you're going to subtract 6 from 20, which is going to give you 14. So our answer is going to be x equals 14. Now, in order to check that, we'll go back up and we will put 14 plus 6 will give us what? 14 plus 6 will give us 20. So now we know that our problem is correct. Did everybody understand that? Did everybody see how we got rid of that y and put it by itself? And if always the rules, do the opposite. That means you're going to invert the operation of whatever is being inside of that variable. Let's look at number 2. Number 2, we have x minus 10 equals 12. Now, our variable in this is x. So what we're going to do now, we have a negative 10. So now we're going to bring down, we're going to put a positive 10. And so we have x and a positive 10 equals to 12. So I know I have a negative 10 here. I'm going to put a negative 10 on the opposite side. But I have a negative 10 and a positive 10. So we're going to cancel out that. Now we have x equal, and we have 10. So we have x equal to 10. So we're going to take that 10 and we're going to add 10 to 12, which would give you 22. So now we have x equals 22 because we took the variable and we did that 10. And we took 10 from that, we add 10 to that 12 because we had a positive 12 and a positive 10. So your answer was x equals 22. Do everyone understand that? Let's look at number 3. I want, I'm not going to call any names. I'm just going to get volunteers for somebody to do number 3 for me before we go on in the worksheet. Okay, go ahead. Okay, you have, pause your video now and do 10 minutes. Okay, class. Now we're getting ready to go over your worksheet. Make sure your videos are paused at this time. Okay. Let's look at number 4. We went over 1, 2, and 3. Let's look at number 4. Number 4, we have 2 plus n equals 16. Now we have 2 plus n equals 16. Our variable is the n, right? So we got a positive 2 plus n equals to 16. So when we're trying to move that variable over to the other side, we invert that. What are we going to do? Now, we're going to put the 2 over the opposite side. You got 2 on this side, which is going to cancel out, which is going to be n equal. So you're going to take the 2 and you're going to subtract 2 from 16. And 2 from 16 is going to give you 14. Now to find out if it's right, you'll take that 14 and add it to the 2 that's up on the top. and 14 and 2 will give you 16. That way you know that your answer is correct. Let's look at number 5. The variable is a plus 4 equals 14. So we're going to do a negative 14 by one side. Always keep in mind what we do on one side, we do it to the other opposite, on the opposite side of the operation that's being done. The variable in order to get the variable by itself. So we weren't trying to get this a by itself. So we got a positive, we got a negative, we had a positive 4, a plus 4, but now we got a negative 4. So you got a negative 4. That means you're going to divide that negative 4. You're going to do the same. You're going to put your negative 4 on your 14 on the opposite side of that 14. So now you have, cross out your 4. You have a plus, and then you're going to subtract 4 from 14. And when you subtract 4 from 14, you're going to get 10. Now to check and see if it's correct, you're going to take your 10 and you're going to add it to your positive 4 up there. And 10 plus 4 is going to give you 14. So then you know your answer is correct. Do anyone have any questions so far? Okay, let's look at number 6. I'm going to let somebody else do number 6 for me and see if they got it correct. Go ahead, Brenda. What is your variable? That's correct. M is your variable. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to get the M by itself. So if we get the M by itself, we got a negative 5. Now we got M positive 5. That's correct. Equals. So you're going to do you're going to put the 5 on the other side of the opposite of the right side over there. You're going to do 5 over there. You put your 5 over there up under your 10. So now you have, yes, subtract your 5 from your 10, and you get a negative 5. That is correct. Now, if you take that 5 and you put it up there with that M and you add 5 plus a negative 5, it'll give you 10. That is correct, a negative 10. That's correct. Do everyone understand this so far? Okay, remember we're still working on Math Masters to help you to become masters, math masters. Let's give ourselves applause for today. You've done a great job. See you on the next lesson. You was wonderful today.